Hello everyone, I just wanted to talk a little bit about First Draft and a project that we are launching on Tuesday called CrossCheck. And in fact, journalists from 35 news organisations have just spent the last 3 days in a French chateau just outside Paris, having a terrible time. That's how they do it in France. We tried to do it a weekend and the French were like, ugh. So we had to do it during the week. So I think many of you know First Draft. We were launched about a year and a half ago with the help of Google News Lab, and Olivia's in the back here. And also Craig Silverman was part of the coalition, and Eric Toller was from Bellingcat. And we worked for a year and a half, and we really focused on training resources, and we built this website. And it obviously became a moment in the last 3 months where people started really talking to us about the misinformation ecosystem. And we recognized that we had videos we could send people, but it wasn't really enough. And so what we said was, we want to try something. Huge parts of this experiment is going to fail. Don't listen to that, France. But we don't know enough about this yet. But we have to start doing stuff in the field to work out what's working and what's not. We have to do tests with audiences. We have to do experimental work. We have to see whether newsrooms will actually collaborate with each other. Because the plan is to have 35 different newsrooms from Paris and around the nation actually collaborating in real time in terms of debunking misinformation and disinformation circulating around the French election, which is coming up at the end of April. So this is the diagram, and we're actually working with Harkin. We think it's really important to learn what audiences themselves are confused by. So we wanted audiences to tell us, not just, is this YouTube video true, but I'm confused. Does Marine Le Pen really think this? So we're trying to meld fact-checking, which is often the verification of official sources, with verification, which is often the verification of unofficial sources. And fact-checking and verification has kind of been seen as two different things. We're now at a point where we're working together, and we have to understand that what we're doing complements each other, and we have to recognize the audience doesn't see that distinction. So the idea is that we are going to be manually monitoring. I wish we could have the social machines lab in Paris, but monitoring a lot of this manually, as well as taking in questions from the audience, using Google Trends to see what people are searching for, and then doing a bunch of manual verification, but rather having 35 newsrooms all independently verifying the same false photo, it makes much more sense for one person to do it quickly and share it with the network. So there's actually more time for journalists to do storytelling and to actually recognize that the debunking piece, we can share that, and competition that naturally drives the news industry doesn't have to work in this space. We also, research is a key part of this. So we have researchers mapping the misinformation ecosystem. How can we pick up the networks and understand what rumors are circulating and where they're circulating and who's sharing that information, and what the audience are picking up and sharing themselves. We're working with Check. So Arne is here from Medan, who's one of our partners. We're using their platform to do the collaborative verification piece. And then this is going out via the social networks. But what's crucial is that rather than CrossCheck becoming a brand, this is about powering the trusted networks and the trusted newsrooms to push this out themselves, but thinking about repetition that comes from the social scientific world. How can we say, if we have consistent messaging from different newsrooms, we're starting to say to the audience, here's the same messaging, which is counterintuitive to the news industry that likes to make itself distinct, even if it's covering the same story. So this is just a mock-up of how we think the questions will come in from the audience. But here's how we're thinking about the feed. So this will sit on our CrossCheck site, but more importantly, if you can see the mock-up of the embeddable card, we're trying to think up of a consistent visual language. So for example, manipulated with the scissors, it might be two pieces of truthful photography, but it's been pushed together and it's manipulated. And as you'll see, any of the newsrooms that kind of say, yes, we agree with that verification, will sit alongside one another. So we'll have multiple logos on the same card. And then this will be pushed out as well via the social networks, who have come on board to say, let's try this. Let's see if we push this out via Facebook using promotional ads, will this actually make any difference if more people see it? So who knows whether it's going to work, but we wanted to actually do something and try something and see whether collaboration works. I just wish we hadn't done it in a language that we don't speak. But if we can do it in French, we can do it in any language. So thank you very much.